So welcome to the beautiful Berwick Springs Lake here down in Narre South. So there's a little issue going on down here in Berwick Springs that we're just going to tell you a little bit today what's happening, and then I'm going to show you something interesting just around the corner, and then we're going to hear from some local residents. But what the issue is down here in Berwick Springs is on the 9th of November last year, 7 government state members of parliament turned up at our Berwick Springs Lake and they renamed it Guru Nanak Lake after an Indian Sikh born in 1469. Now, we don't have any issue with the Sikh community. We know all the great work they do. The issue is the state government never consulted the local community. So the decision was made in August 2022, and for a 2-year period until last November 2024, they actually told no one. And we're a really proud multicultural community, and by changing this name, it's created a lot of angst and division in the community. And a lot of people are asking why. Why did they change the name? And why didn't they consult me? And the funny thing about this issue is that this is a state precedent, and this has got ramifications for all Victorians. So as we talk to some of the local residents, you'll hear how they feel about this, and we'll explain to you how this is going to impact all of you in Victoria at some point or another. And what I'll do now is we're just going to move down to the lake, and I'll show you something a little bit interesting before we talk to some of the residents. So we're just standing here in front of what I call the rotunda here at Berwick Springs Lake. And this used to be really overgrown with a lot of green foliage covering it. And the council not that long ago just trimmed it all back, and they exposed something that probably a lot of locals don't have any idea actually exists. So the state government argues that the Berwick Springs Lake never had a name. So I'm just going to take you back a little way, back to 1997, about a quarter of a century. And this was rezoned, this area, to residential property by Robert McClelland, and it was opened up by him, Robert McClelland, the planning minister, in 1997. And you might be able to see there, it's called Berwick Springs. So when the government says it doesn't have a name, that's 1997. So I wonder what Robert McClelland, as a planning minister, would think about Sonia Kilkenny, another planning minister from the state Labor government, a quarter of a century later, changing the name without any community consultation. But if we go back beyond 1997, the name The Springs goes back to 1855. So some of you local to the area will know the famous cheese factory on Centre Road. Well, that was built by a fellow called William Clark in 1855. He owned all this land, and all this land he named his property The Springs after the natural springs on this property. And in 1903, Edwin Greaves, which is Greaves Road here in Narre South and Berwick, 1903, he built a homestead. It's on the hill up there. 1903, when he bought this land, and he called his property The Springs, also after the natural springs here. So the name The Springs, and later when it was rezoned Berwick Springs Lake, was always known as The Springs. So when the government argues this area never had a name, it's actually been known as The Springs in Berwick for 170 years, right back to 1855. So what we're going to do now is we're going to talk to some residents. We're going to find some people and some locals down here, and we're just going to see what they think about this and how they feel about the fact that they were never consulted. And these 7 MPs, which I like to refer to as the 7 criminals, how these 7 criminals turned up last November and without any consultation changed our name. So this is a beautiful Berwick Springs Lake in question, and we're just going to grab a few locals and just see what about this, they think about this name change. So I've got a gentleman here, and can I just ask you, are you a local resident, or are you just someone that sort of comes down to enjoy the Berwick Springs Lake?
I'm a local resident here.
Okay, and how long have you lived here for?
More than 10 years now.
Okay, so more than 10 years. So you know that obviously they've changed the name of the lake, and obviously they didn't tell the community when they changed it. Do you know what the name of the lake is now?
Yeah, it was surprising when you get to know the name. So, they changed to a different name. I don't know, I can't even remember the name now. So the new name I can't remember now, yeah.
That's okay. So the new name is called Guru Nanak, and Guru Nanak's an Indian Sikh born 500 years ago. So the government says there's a large population of the Sikh community here. In fact, the Sikh community only represents about 1.9% of the local population. So what do you think about the decision that they've changed the name without consulting you as a local resident?
Well, we need to because we're paying council rates and everything. We should know that if there's a change the name because we are the residents here. So we haven't got any consultation. That's we don't like that they change the name without our consultation. Yeah.
And what do you think about the name? The fact that they've named it. So Guru Nanak was the founder of the Sikh faith. So it's a religious name in a public place. So how do you feel about that this is now a sacred site for the Sikh community, it being a religious name?
Well, I don't know about Sikhs much about them, but look, I'm respecting every religion, so I don't have any issue with the Sikhs or any religions. But we love we can get back the Berwick Springs name because we have a Berwick Springs Lake here and the Berwick Springs Promenade Road here, so they're all matching each other. Because the reason why we're getting here because of we love this lake and with the history behind the lake, and we love the name Berwick Springs. That's why we initially bought the house in this area. Yeah.
Yep. And you would agree that the name the Springs or Berwick Springs represents everyone equally?
I think the Berwick Springs is representing everyone equally because there are a lot of communities living here in this area. That's different nationalities. So I think the common name Berwick Springs is much better, and also the history behind it. It's really like enormous, Yeah.
Okay, that's very good. Now I'm just going to put something to you. So the Premier Jacinta Allen, and this is really important for people who aren't local, so people within the Victorian community to understand. But what happened here back late last year was when the local residents started to get a petition together, the Premier had a speech in Parliament. Now, it wasn't a speech just off the cuff, it was a prepared speech that she read from. So there was a lot of thought put into that speech. And when she made that speech, she actually made the allegation that anyone who opposed the name change, so yourself, for example, anyone who opposed the name change was in some regards almost affiliating themselves with the neo-Nazis, in that only the neo-Nazis would support our position, I think was her words. And being a neo-Nazi, obviously you're an activist for hate and division. So can I just ask you a question without offending you? Are you a neo-Nazi white supremacist?
No, I don't know neo-Nazi. I'm not a neo-Nazi at all. So I'm just telling you because we bought it here for Berwick Springs Lakes. So we love to be back the Berwick Springs Lake. So we're gonna know nothing about any other thing. So I'm not a neo-Nazi or anyone.
So you're sure you're not a neo-Nazi white supremacist in disguise?
And I'm pretty sure I'm not.
Okay. All right. Thanks for your time. Thank you. Actually, before you go, can I just ask, when the Premier made that statement, referring to residents like yourself as being, allegedly affiliating with, how did you feel about that being called that?
Look, I haven't seen that, but I think it's feel a bit embarrassing because we love to work together and all the religions, all the communities, and we love respect each other. And look, I think it's something up to the decision, so the people to decide it. But yeah, so I'm not definitely neo-Nazi or anyone to
All right, thank you very much for your time. Thank you. So I'm standing here with a gentleman by the name of Ghazan, who's a local resident. And during this campaign over the last year, we've been selling a little bit of merchandise just to raise a few money. So obviously he's got one of our Berwick Springs multicultural, multi-faith community T-shirts, because we are a very proud multi-faith, multicultural community. And that's what this issue is about, is that we've got a religious segregation down here favouring one particular religious community group. So Ghazan, I just want to ask you, when you sort of first found out about this, what was your initial reaction?
I think it's shocking because for one particular race or religion to have a lake by the name, it doesn't serve the purpose. The reason we bought this place is because of Berwick Springs. It's multiracial. I don't think so this is appropriate. It's not. And I spoke to some of the Sikh people, they were shocked too. There was no consultation, there was no asking, and suddenly the name changed. Yeah.
And how do you think the name changed? So when you say it was shocking, what do you think makes it have that stink about it?
Well, it is not a Sikh community area. There's no temple nearby that belongs to the Sikh community. There's a couple of people are staying here. So what benefit do they put that name, number one? What does a minister get benefit out of this? And what does the nation get benefit out of this? We are residents. So the residents feel that they've been robbed of their rights. We bought this place because of the name, because of the place. So when you take something out of context without even discussing, even asking us, I think it's rude. It's very rude for them to do that.
Yeah. It's a very good point when you make about the minister and what did the state government get out of this? Because it's a question we can't answer. We've got our ideas, obviously, and people will think about, well, you know what, they've named it after a particular community group, so people can work out for themselves why. But, you know, if I try to take you a little bit deeper, why do you think they did that?
Well, if they think of buying wood, then this is not appropriate. Because the next community, the Afghan, will ask for their rights. The next community from Malaysia will ask for their rights. And then you have segregate us. Instead of now being one, we become multiracial. Instead of one, but we become disintegrate. So that's not right.
Yeah. It's actually a very good point, because that's our argument as a community association that we've formed, is that the name Berwick Springs represents everyone, and it represents everyone equally. So thanks, Kazan. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Or
well, I'm very concerned because by the youth, the youngsters that we talked to, they were shocked when they saw all the signboard in front of my house and everywhere. They say, what's going on? So when we say that they're going to change the name, or they change the name to Guru Nanak Lake, they were shocked. They say, why would they want to change to a particular race or religion, leadership or something like that? And I don't think this is appropriate. I hope that they listen to us, because it is going to cause a lot of problems here.
All right, thanks, Kazan. Thank you for your opinion. Thank you for saying what you have today. Thank you. So I just want to finish up now, and I think it's pretty obvious when we're talking to our local residents here that there's a couple of really big issues that come up here. Firstly, they recognise the long history of the name. They recognise the division this has created. They recognise the fact that there was no consultation. And they just honestly ask the question, why? How did this happen? So to the broader Victorian community, we just want you to be aware that this is going to come to somewhere near you, and it could be a road, a park, a lake, a building, it could be anything. So what's happening now is we've got a parliamentary debate coming up on the 15th of October, and for the local community, and look, this invitation extends to anyone in the Victorian community who maybe just wants to stand up and say, you know what, as an individual, we should be consulted. Local communities should be consulted. So this invitation extends to anyone, but in particular our local community. The 15th of October is a really important day. Wednesday the 15th of October, that parliamentary debate, 4,300 signatures, is going to be tabled in Parliament. And there's going to be a few politicians having a debate about this. We need some accountability, and we've heard a few residents talk about that today. We need people there on the 15th. We're going to be there at 5 o'clock at the steps of the Victorian State Parliament for a community photo. And that community just doesn't mean the Berwick Springs community or the City of Casey community. That means the Victorian community. So come down and support us at 5 o'clock on the 15th of October. If you work in the city, just walk around the Spring Street. You know, come and stand with us. Stand together with all your fellow Victorians and just say, you know what? Local communities deserve to be respected. That's all this issue is about. Just consultation and the right to be respected. Now, if you haven't signed the change.org petition, nearly 10,000 people have. You can jump onto change.org, and if you search Berwick Springs Lake, you'll find the change.org petition. And if you want to find out a little bit more about what's happening locally here and how it could impact you and your home or country town, wherever you are, you can jump onto our website, Berwick Springs Community, info at Berwick Springs Community. You'll see there's a tab there called the Hall of Shame. It talks about those 7 criminals that I refer to. And I just want to leave on this last note. This government doesn't respect you. There's a common theme here, and you think about all the issues in our state, you're either with the state government or you're not. And at Berwick Springs, we never wanted to make this about politics. And if this was the Liberal Party doing this, we'd call this out just as much, trust me. This is about lack of consultation, coming into a community, changing the name deliberately, intentionally for a political agenda. They don't care about you. There's no respect. And all I say to the state Labor government, you created this division, you created this problem in our community, you're going to do it in other communities. It's about time you took some accountability. It's about time you apologised to the Sikh community and said, you know what, we got it wrong. And it's about time you apologised, Jacinta Allen, to the local City of Casey and the Berwick Springs community, say, you know what, we got it wrong. But yeah, just remember, the 15th of October, jump on the change.org, look at our website, Berwick Springs Community, and remember, there's a state election coming next year. If they don't respect you, don't give them your vote. Thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.